So hello and welcome back. So I'm going to continue with flying around spawn and replacing the kits that have gone. We completed one quarter last time, and hopefully we'll complete another quarter today. So without further ado, let's get on with it. And yep, I'll press that button too many times. Right, so I have conveniently logged myself in at the location where there was a previous kit. I do like that. I always like it when I come to one and I see a sign left by the person who's found the kit. It's gonna sound daft, but it makes it worthwhile for me. It really does. So hopefully this time around we won't have so much trouble with flying. And okay, there we go. We're in the air. Rubber banding a bit, but there we go. Right, looks like flying may be a bit of an issue again today. Okay, also we'll try and avoid as much me overshooting and completely missing where I am heading for. Okay, so I watched back my first video, which was kind of hilarious. And one of the things I didn't realise was the neighbours' dogs had been barking a lot. I was completely oblivious when making the video that they were barking, and they were very loud. So I do apologise. I do live in a semi-rural area in Wales, so you will hear lots of dogs and such, but not a lot in the way of people, which is one of the nice things about this area. Okay, so we're good on the east-west, so we just need to head south. Okay, so one of the things my partner asked me when we watched back the original video was, why am I doing this? Not why am I making the videos, but why am I doing these kits? And I did mention it briefly in the first video, and I'm doing this because I know how difficult it is when you first start. Getting a set of armour, getting some wings, it's difficult. Now getting the armour, yeah, you can do that, you can do it completely vanilla way, do the grind. But getting wings and shulkers is very difficult if you go to do it the vanilla way and head into the end. One, finding an end portal is incredibly difficult because strongholds don't exist in the normal sense of the word. There are a couple of active strongholds that not strongholds, end portals, but they are difficult to get to. Ooh, now this is new. Sorry, I'll come back to what we were saying. This wasn't here last time. Somebody is building this. Wow. I don't know how long it'll be here for. That's been there for a while. I'm familiar with that. But this is new. Wow. People still build near spawn. They know it's not going to last, but they still do it. Okay, yeah, whoever built that, I'm impressed. Let's just have a quick peek in this chest. Saying that means I'll probably struggle to get back in the air, but hey ho. We can always laugh at my inability to fly. No, nothing of use. Alright. Okay, so let's continue on. We'll just see if we can get high enough up and jump off something to get into the air. You may see some red squares over there. They are banners that people have placed. Not particularly fussed about them. And we'll just keep going on. Right, so what were we talking about? I'll be honest, I've completely forgotten. I know we were saying about... Oh yes, talking about the going to the end. So, yeah. So I have been to the end. I've done a little bit of end busting. Found out while I was out there that I was heading in the general direction of Space File 3, so continued in that direction and made my way out there. Unfortunately, a lot of it is now destroyed, but still well worth the pilgrimage. But if you don't already have wings, the end is nearly impossible to try and get out onto those main islands in the first place, because the amount of area that was already loaded before it updated and then islands became a thing makes it very difficult. So giving people that first set of wings, so they want to head out into the end and then collect more stuff and maybe get some extra shells and stuff, it makes it doable. I'm not saying it can't be done without wings, but I personally wouldn't want to try. Having been out there and seeing how bad the terrain is, and also having to take in consideration the lag issue, because lag is a big issue on this server. Right, so we're coming in close to the next kit, so I think I'll just land here. I think we are pretty much at the location, so we'll try and remember what we were talking about in a... Oh, there we go, I think this is where it was. Okay, so the original sign's been taken down and somebody else has put a new sign up. That's perfectly fine. I will replace the sign, because I won't replace that sign, but I will replace the sign that was there originally, because I kind of like having those signs there. So just bear with me 1 second while I try and remember which of these boxes has my signs in. I think it's this one. Just making sure we're good. Okay, here we go. Alright, let's get that away. So, as you can see, there's more kits in here, but I also have to keep some of my own stuff in my end chest. I do have more items out there in various locations, yeah, but I'm not telling you where. So, bear with me, I'm going to go silent for a moment while I do this sign, because me typing and talking doesn't work well. And done. Okay. Right, so that's that done. And away we go again. So just quick check of coordinates. Okay, so we don't need to go much to the west, so we just need to get into the air. Alright. Let's hope this isn't too embarrassing, because like I say, we've been having a bit of issue with getting the wings to open. There we go. Normally I would just go into water, because I find that it's actually quite easy to get into the air from water, but for some reason that's not working very well at the moment, so never mind. There we go. Alright, so yes, so travelling into the end. So it's one of the reasons why I wanted to do these kits. I also just given some other gear, such as like totems. So we're on 1.12, so raids don't exist. So the only way to get totems vanilla is to find a mansion and try and get some that way. So it's not ideal. Oops, nearly flew into that because I was too busy looking at my notebook. So again, something useful. And then the notch apples. Now normally in a normal game you may find one or two if you're lucky. So having a stack of them is really, really helpful. Now these obviously have been duped by somebody down the line. I don't know any dupes. If I did, believe me, I would be using them to do the kits, because I am running out of certain things. I don't really understand a lot of how these work. I imagine they involve plugins and knowledge about how coding works. So I kind of have that as I'm not really going to be able to do a dupe. Okay, sorry, we're going to stop again for a second, because though this has been griefed, it's still quite impressive. Obviously somebody built quite a big Greek style temple here, and we're going into land. And again, this is something that I don't think I've seen before. So now it doesn't mean to say it wasn't here. I could have been just on a slightly different path and overshot it. But you do get to see some amazing things as you fly around spawn. It's one of the reasons why I have chosen not to cut out the flying. I kind of want you to see what's out there. Alright, anyway, so back to what I was whittering on about. Yeah, so the whole point of the kits is to give people some of the gear that regular players take for granted, which are hard to get when you first start, and just give them a little bit of a level playing field. Come on, house, there we go. Alright, I will be honest, it's not normally that bad getting the wings open. Alright. The kits, unfortunately, there's about 5 kits amongst the 35 I got, which aren't as good as the others, in the fact that they don't contain bows. When I first started, I was able to put in bows that I'd found, because I had enough of them, which contained both mending and this one's here, mending and infinity. Now, as you know, that's not actually possible without knowing knowing any hacks and stuff. Unfortunately, I ran out of them. I've got a couple left which I need to keep hold of for my own use. So if I lose my bow or get killed, then I've at least got the means of replacing it. So all the bows now that I've been placing in have either got just regular infinity on or mending, and the only way I've managed to get them is through fishing. Spending many hours fishing up bows and fishing rods, so being able to try and put fishing rods as much as possible into these kits. But then also it means I've had to spend many hours at an XP grinder, grinding out XP to be able to combine them into useful bows or fishing rods. So these kits do take a lot of time to put together. It's not just a case of, I've got all this gear, let's just throw it in. Some of the gear I'm having to grind to put in there. Yeah, so I'm kind of hoping that we do updates soon, because being able to trade with villagers for the books and then turn them on the bow would be a lot cheaper, and the same with the fishing rods, than having to do it the way I'm doing it at the moment. But will we update anytime soon? Your guess is good as mine. I'm not feeling that optimistic. I think we probably could have updated, but the fact that we haven't makes me think that somebody somewhere is just being a little bit of a narcissist, being a little bit of a deliberate pain in the ass, because they can. And let's face it, it's his server, he can do what he likes. People say it's not true anarchy. Well, it is for him. Okay, can we get into the... Oh, why is this... This normally works. Right, I do apologise. We may have a slight technical issue in the fact that we are having flying issues now. My Lytra... Well, I do have a Lytra fly on. So, and it is set on the correct one that I would normally have. So normally I would have no trouble. So let's give this a go again. There we go. Got the wings open. As long as I don't hit the floor after the rubber bandy, I can normally get up. Well, I suppose it is a Saturday morning, though. The same in the UK, so for most of the people in America, that it's late on and most of them are heading to bed. So there aren't too many people on at the moment compared to what it can be. Alright. So, yeah, so these kits. So, yes, a lot of work goes into making these kits. But for me, it's worth it. I had toyed with different ways I could help players. I thought about originally just making lots and lots of iron armour and food and put them in chests around spawn. But I decided against that. Oops, somebody's bed. Safe place to leave it. Not because I didn't want to do that level of help, but I kind of don't want to take the experience of completely escaping spawn on your own away from people. It's one of those sort of rites of passages in a sense that you need to escape spawn. In the way, now this is another player who put this way on chat. Escaping spawn is your way of showing that you belong on this server. And I kind of agree. If you can't escape spawn on your own, then you're going to struggle out here. No one's going to give too much help. There are a few people like myself who do try and help new players. And I do see a lot of people put messages in chat begging for help, and most people will just ignore those messages. So yeah, begging for help doesn't work. Even I won't go to somebody if they beg for help. Not that I don't want to help them, it's just you need to do this yourself. And that's why the kits are placed as far out as they are. Far enough out that it's a bit of a challenge getting there, but close enough that it's doable. And then you find some stuff with food, which point you're probably desperate for. And then sort of, yeah, you've escaped spawn, here's a reward for doing so. Yeah, so like I said, there's a few other people who do try and help. There's a few people who sort of hang around the spawn area, especially in the nether. And they will, if they find you, they'll give you a god apple to get you, to keep you alive, and they will try and lead you to safety. Most people, if they find you in the nether, will kill you on sight. I did do a bit when not long after I first started. After I'd been killed that first time on the highway, I made myself some just plain diamond armour because I had some diamond blocks. And I thought, you know what, I've got nothing here that I need to worry about losing. So I'm going to go in, make my way back into spawn. So to see how difficult it is walking back into spawn. And it was quite hard. I got quite close. I think I ended up on the east or west highway, one of them. And I ended up coming across, like, way was blocked, and the only way was to go through another portal. Normally you just go straight through, it's not a problem. But it was multiple portals stacked on top of each other. So it was like a tunnel of nether portals. So I tried to sprint through them, but it was too long, and of course I got teleported into the nether. Which was fine, so I thought, right, I'm here, I haven't really got much on me. Let's go and have a look around near the nether hub. It was, to be honest, I was shaking. I don't know why, I was a nervous wreck doing it. But I thought, it doesn't matter if I die, I've got nothing hit on me that I need to worry about losing. So, if I'm going to do it, now's the time to do it. So we're coming up, I think it's down here, if I remember correctly. Okay, so I'll be back in a moment and it's this one's still here too. So as I said previously, I always check them when they've been left, when they're undiscovered, just to make sure that everything is still in there. It's not just an empty shulker, because I would feel bad if somebody found it and it was just an empty shulker. Okay, so that's another one. So quite a few of these ones haven't been found. So it'll be interesting at the end to see how many kits I've got left, because I brought exactly the right amount I needed to stock them all if they'd all gone. So whatever's left, I know is the how many were still there. Okay, so we need to head a little bit back north, and now we're heading east. So we'll try and get back in the air, and we'll try and take off again. So yeah, so the nether and the other place. So I have since been into the nether hub. Normally if I come back to spawn the quick way, which is basically punch a wither or fall off something high and respawn back, I don't have a bed spawn anymore. I'll explain why in a little bit. I don't bother taking any gear out of my end chest until I'm out from spawn. So I will wander into the nether, and that way then, if I get killed, it's no big deal. I haven't lost anything of value. And we're heading west. We need to head east. It's heading the wrong way again, guys. Honestly. I think that was the title of well, yeah, it was yesterday when I recorded it. Though it won't be yesterday when this gets uploaded. I'm going to leave probably a week or so between them. There we go. That's a bit better. I want to get them all recorded before I upload anything. Just one of those things. I prefer to do it that way. Okay, so yeah, so there are people. I'd wanted to come back to spawn. I'd gone into the nether, was making my way out, and then this guy comes up to me, throws a god apple at me, and signals for me to follow him. We communicate the usual way, which is he places a sign and writes a message on it. I break the sign and then place it, write another message. It's a very slow way of having a conversation. But it's either that or try and send a message in chat, and that can be even more long-winded and slow. So I thought, what the hell, follow this guy. Might be a trap. I'm not going to be clicking on any beds or anything like that. If I get end crystalled, yeah, so what? But it'll be interesting. But no, this guy led me to a place of safety, asked what my plans were and everything, and then as I headed off, he wished me well. And it was quite a wholesome experience. And I don't think he's the only one. I think there is a group of them. I don't know the name of the group, who they are, but they do sort of hang around spawn a lot, and they will help players if they come across them. They're quite capable of defending themselves. I imagine that if they got attacked and that, they'd have no trouble getting out of there and dealing with any attackers. So yeah, so there are good people who play on the server. And that sort of is one of the things I want to do. Not because I'm a particularly nice, kind person. It's just I want to be true to who I am. I don't want to be someone who destroys for the sake of destroying. Like I said, I'm not a griefer. And I kind of want to be able to just make things a little bit easier for people. So I did, as I mentioned, I did consider different ways. Like one of the things I thought about was just placing very basic iron armour in the spawn area, but didn't want to destroy other people's experiences. I did consider actually looking for players and giving them gear direct. So I tested that idea out on another server called 9B, which I use occasionally basically as a test ground for things I might do here on 2B, since there's much smaller player base, but a lot of similarities between them. It ended badly. It ended very badly. I gave one person the kit, and I was in the process of giving somebody else some stuff. And I don't know if it was the first person or somebody else, but I then found myself suddenly being attacked. I tried to defend myself. I had a couple of tokens on me, but I had a lot of stuff in my actual inventory. I munched down a few god apples. I was trying to get out of there, but yeah, it ended the only way it was going to end, with me falling off, cracking my totem, and then dying to a wither. It was game over. I just didn't have the skills to be able to protect myself. And I didn't have the knowledge of what to do. So that sort of, to me, showed me that handing stuff out direct to people would not necessarily be a good idea. Okay, so I'm going to have to be careful here. I'm near one of the locations where I've got kit, but as you may notice, I'm going the wrong direction. Honestly. Story of my life. I was going to say, yeah, there was a wither there. I was wondering then if I was going to have to kill a wither. So yeah, so I decided against handing stuff out directly to people because that could very easily backfire. And as you see at the moment, I'm carrying a lot of gear on me. So I then considered, okay, so instead of giving them to people, why not leave them where people can find them? So it was like, okay, so how far out to go? So I flew around a bit and was looking at how the terrain was, and decided that it needed really to be a minimum of 6 or so thousand blocks out. So decided roughly on the distance I am doing, which is between the 8 and 10k, and then it's like where to leave them. Okay, let me just quickly check this. You see now somebody's been here. They've left an apple. Hope it's here, which appreciated. Awesome, that's nice. So take that out. I'm not gonna keep it. That can go in there. So obviously that's probably what that player had on them when they found this kit, and that's they now got some really good stuff. So yeah, it does make my day when I see those messages. It really does. Let's replace it, and then it's ready for the next person. Okay, so yeah, so the decision was I'd place them a way out. So I flew around a bit, and then trying to decide, no, I could just place these in random locations, in them with nothing near them. You've seen that there's lots and lots of spots where, it'd be safe to leave them, but I want people to find them. So my thinking was I would place them near signs of activity. So ruined bases, farms, anywhere that might pique a new player's interest, who might go and see if there's anything there of use, any food, something just to give them a little bit of help. But at the same time, it's relatively safe. So areas that have suffered from massive destruction, I tend to ignore. The same if there's like the wither in the area, I don't leave it there because it'd be too easy for it to be destroyed. It's looking for a relatively safe place which a new player might investigate. And strange enough, there aren't that many places that fit that criteria. Also, I wanted to leave at least a little bit of a gap between each of these kits. And we're heading west again, and we need to be heading east. Honestly, I'm almost as bad as I was yesterday. So we've only got 2 more to do. This is one of the smaller areas. There's only 7 kits to go out in this particular area. So let's just get ourselves. So we need to be on 9175. So let's just head north a little bit, and away we go. Alright, so yeah, so that's why the kits are where they are, and roughly why I'm doing this. Like I say, I just want to give people that little bit of help, because it is hard. And I could go into a full story about my full experience and that led me down this, but it's a bit of a long story, so I think we'll save that for another video, and not necessarily going to be that most particularly exciting or interesting story, but it is what it is. Alright, so let's see, we've got, okay, so we're not far off, but 1,000 blocks away from the next one. Again, lots and lots of banners from various groups. You'll occasionally see banners from groups that no longer exist. Occasionally, now this always amuses me when it happens, is you'll be flying and you'll get a wither strike fly past you. There'll be no wither in the area, no name will appear. It's just that somewhere not far away a wither has taken a shot. It's flown out into unloaded chunks, so of course then that shot is just sat there, and of course at some point somebody's loaded that, so it's continued, and eventually you load the chunk it's in and you just see it zooming past you. It always amuses me when that happens. First time it happened to me, it freaked me out. I thought, oh my god, there's a wither nearby, but no name popped up. There was no name, and so there wasn't actually a wither nearby. It's just its shot had flown into unloaded chunks, and I now was loading them chunks. So now I just go, oh right, ignore it. As long as it doesn't hit me, which is just then really annoying. I think we've overshot. We have, because I was too busy talking. Oh, doesn't sound like me, does it now? So we need to go a little bit to the south as well. I think it's over on this island here. Let's just give ourselves a little bit of a helping hand to get over here. I think it's on here somewhere. Oh, somebody's been here. There's a horse. I'm not going to steal it. Yeah, the kid's gone. Alright, so let's just have a quick peek. There's... Aww. 4th of the 8th, 22. Okay, it's getting... Ah, that's a skelly horse. Yeah, there's quite a lot of them around. So let's put this one in. So we've got one more left to do after this one. The been named. Oh, then there's another. Ah, yes, I left that sign. I remember this one. So Alan was a wither. I had found this location previously and set it up as a place to be leaving kits. And I came one day to, the kit was gone, replace it, and there was a wither. So I had a choice. Do I look for a new location, or do I kill the wither? So I decided to go down the route of killing the wither. Of course, as you do. Now, like I say, I'm quite new to hacks. I'm really good for using the basics, so I know there's ways of doing it using crystals and crystal aura, which I never have switched on. But not having any end crystals, not really knowing how it works, I decided to do it in the vanilla way. So yes, I fought a wither the old-fashioned way, and then left the nether star there. And decided that from that point on, I was going to call the wither Alan. And I pretty much call all withers Alan now, because, all withers are now Alan. Unless they've already been named, in which case they're still Alan. Okay, let's try and get into the air. Come on, there we go. Thank you, house. Alright, so we've got one more to go. And then we are done for this video. And I shall then play it back, and hopefully it's not too bad. Certainly hopefully it's not so bad that I have to think about redoing it again and reversing my journey, collecting all the kits back, just to do another video to replace them. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. Well, I may have done that once, on that first one when the audio didn't record. I do apologise also if you can hear in the background the washing machine going. Unfortunately, it's a Saturday, so I'm not in work, so other grown-up stuff has to take part. It's like, growing up. If you can, unfortunately can't stop you from getting older, but growing up isn't all it's cracked up to be. If I would recommend holding off and resisting it as long as possible. It is a trap, and there's very little benefit to being an adult versus being a child. Anyway, that's my take on life. Never grow up. And as I've mentioned to my mother several times, I think the idea that I might grow up one day, well, that ship I think is safely to say has safely sailed at this point. Because if I've reached this age and I'm still very much embracing being a child at heart, I'm not going to change. I like just randomly attacking my husband with a pillow, and initiating pillow fights or water fights. And he's starting to get even more chaotic than I am. I just, that little bit of mischief in life. Just, there's plenty of times to be serious and act like a responsible person, but you don't have to all the time. It's have fun. Do stuff that you enjoy. Who cares if people think, that it's childish? So what? If it's something you enjoy doing, then do it. Okay, so somebody's placed a bed there, and there's a lot of broken blocks on top of it. Yeah, so somebody died there. Probably a new player maybe got trapped and suffocated. Didn't have enough clearance above them. Right, so we've got to go just another about 100. Oh, we're heading the wrong direction again. Honestly, well, no, I just briefly got turned around. Then we weren't heading the wrong direction completely. So we're about 100 blocks away from where we need to be. That's why I haven't bothered to try and get back into the air, because it just wouldn't be worthwhile. Right, so I think it's probably over by this tree here. There we go. Like I say, shaders showing up. More stuff. Also an orb. So possibly somebody may have died here. Oh well. Yeah, you will occasionally find bodies. That's another way to get gear. Right, so that's the last one. So it's kind of sad, really, that this last one was overshadowed by the remains of 2 players, one underground and one just here. But that, unfortunately, is what it is. So anyway, thank you for watching. I hope this isn't too bad and I haven't and ahed too much today. Thankfully, the dogs have been quiet, so we haven't had to put up with the sound of them barking in the background. Unfortunately, you just had to put up the sound of the washing machine. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you have a good rest of your day. And this is me signing off. Bye.